The economics of chemical energetics. This question was a challenge question, asking what is the cost of propane needed to make a cup of hot chocolate? And there are some notes and gives us all the information we need. 15 pounds of propane costs $22. How much money will it cost to make our cup of hot chocolate? The first thing that you're going to want to do is start by estimating the volume of a cup of hot chocolate. If you make one single cup, that is going to be about 250 milliliters. So that is what I'm going to use as my estimate for the cup. The problem also tells us that the density of the hot chocolate we're making is 1 gram per milliliter. This is the next piece of information you need in order to calculate how many grams of liquid your hot chocolate is. And we need liquid so that we can calculate the amount of energy that we need. So, in our calculation here, we'll do 250 and we'll convert that into grams. So it's 1 gram per 1 milliliter. And that means that we have 250 grams of hot chocolate. Then from here we can calculate the calories. Remember that 1 calorie from our problem here is required per gram degrees Celsius. So if we calculate that out, we need to figure out firstly how much temperature change we're doing. Let's assume that our hot chocolate starts at room temperature, and maybe I want this to get to boiling. Sometimes you boil the water before you put the powder in. So if I'm doing that, I'm going to go from 20 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees to 100 degrees Celsius, and that is a change of 80 degrees Celsius. So I need to change my 250 grams 80 degrees. Remember that it takes 1 calorie to change 1 gram 1 degree Celsius. Now I'm changing 250 grams 80 degrees Celsius. And we use their conversion factor of 1 calorie per gram degree Celsius. And if we multiply 250 by 80, we end up with 20,000 calories. That's how many calories of energy we need to heat our water up. However, our propane amount, our delta H for our propane is kilojoules per mole. So we know that eventually we're going to need to figure out how many kilojoules we need so we can figure out how many moles of propane that we need for this problem. So I will then need to convert this into joules and then kilojoules. Remember that there are 4.18 joules in a calorie and that there are 1,000 joules in a kilojoule. And if we do this math here, 20,000 times 4.18 divided by 1,000, you'll end up with 83.6 kilojoules. This is how much energy we need to heat up our cup of hot chocolate. It's my 250 milliliters of hot chocolate. Now the next caveat of the problem is that this is only 30% efficient. That means that from our 2100 kilojoules of mole, only 1/3 of this will actually go towards heating my cup. So if I draw a little picture here, I've got my cup of hot cocoa and I'm heating it with my flame. Put a little color in my flame. Let's say only about 1/3 of this energy here, is going to go towards heating my water. So if we think about it like that, then this is how much energy I would get from a mole of propane. But I'm only really going to get 30% of that heating my cup of water. So I'm going to take 30% of that. That means only 700 kilojoules of energy per mole will be directed towards heating my water up. So this is the number we're going to use now. Now that I have that number, and I have this number, I can figure out how many moles of propane that I need. So I'll take 83.6 kilojoules, and I'll multiply that by 1 mole over 700 kilojoules. That'll get me 0.12 moles of propane needed. That's how much propane I need to heat up my hot chocolate. Now the next part is to figure out how much it costs. So we'll see in our cost that it's 15 pounds, $22. So in order to figure out how many dollars I need to figure out how many pounds of propane that I actually have. So we have to get out of moles and go into pounds. The only way to go into pounds is through grams. So I have 0.12 moles, and I'll use the molar mass of propane, which is 44 grams. And then I'll use the conversion to pounds, which is 454 grams. And we end up with 0.012 pounds. That's how many pounds of propane I need. Not very much, a very, very small amount. And then I can use that number to figure out how many dollars it will cost. So I'll use my conversion factor. It costs $22 for 15 pounds. And that gets me about, if I round, 2 cents. So it'll cost about 2 cents for you to heat up this cup of hot cocoa.